Hello, everybody, and you are watching another weekly edition of Timeout Talks with Ben and Josh, which is streaming on the Kirk Minahan Show Network, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and now on Rumble. Timeout Talks is brought to you by Chase and Throws custom t-shirts and accessories, the Ice Shaker, Make It Mac, and now we are proudly a part of the Kirk Minahan Network. 1 week hiatus, but glad to have you back, Ben. Glad to be back in studio on a Tuesday night.
Always great to be with you, Josh. We're moving good. We're clear, crystal clear right now for us. Looking good, feeling good. Got the best time of the season, Josh, right now. NBA, NHL playoff time just kicking off. Everyone knows how we feel about that. It's best time of the year. Totally forgot about the draft, too. I'll throw a little nugget in there. I did forget it was draft week, too, so we got the NFL draft, Josh. But feeling good after the week hiatus. We need a little rest too. Me and Josh need to get a little rest in there. Get some nice relaxation, I should say. We're ready to go over here. Stream's good so far, Josh. I'm just looking at myself. No lag.
No Benny.
No lag and Benny. No Benny buffers today, hopefully. But it's just great to be back with Josh as always.
Oh, 100%. And as Ben said, he kind of beat me to the punch here. We're going to be talking some NBA playoffs. We're going to get into your Boston Celtics. If you are from the Boston area like me and Ben, we'll be talking about the Bruins. That'll kind of kick off our show. That'll be the opening act. We will talk about the Bruins, get into that. Of course, we're going to get into the NFL draft, with which Ben almost forgot about. But we are good. John giving us the okay. We're good. We're up and running. We are good. We got it, John. And hey, Jackson, these NFL uniforms are terrible. I mean, we can definitely talk about that a little bit later. I don't know who's marketing for them. Terrible. So, Jackson, welcome back. I want to welcome everybody back in. But yeah, we've got an interesting little slate.
Shout out Jackson.
Yearly, our annual thing. I mean, this podcast has been going on for a long time now. It's an annual thing where me, Ben, and James give you our mock drafts. We're going to give you a little bit later in the show our main event of the show. Little WWE UFC tease there. Flirting with that word. But a little bit later in the show, we're going to give you our top 10 picks for me and Ben. And we're going to get you our pick for the Steelers and for the Cowboys, mine and Ben's favorite teams. But first, we're going to start off in the NHL. We're going to start off in the Beantown. The Maple Leafs were able to slide in a victory last night, 3-2 on that breakaway pass to Austin Matthews. And they did what they had to do, Ben. They did what they had to do, Timeout Talks viewers. They split the series going back to Toronto. And now it is all knotted up after a very good 5-1 win. Guess what? The Maple Leafs walk it off in Boston last night. Ben, what's your thoughts moving forward?
Yeah, that was a game we had to steal, Josh. We had to steal that one. It was right there for us. Toronto outplayed us, can't lie. Outplayed us pretty much the whole game. But we took advantage of the power play that they gave us. So stupid mistakes Toronto always does against us. We were taking advantage, Josh. And it was looking like we were going to capitalize on that, steal that game. They didn't thoroughly outplay us. I think the announcers were hyping that up a little too much. But how much is it? I'm going to get to that one, too. I like that one. A little comment over there. Glad to see the comments going too, Josh. All right, let's get everybody going. Let's get all the comments. Maybe not Jimmy. Jimmy's here.
Maybe go, James. We'll get to his mock draft a little later.
Yeah, and we'll get to that point. That's a little sad one for Josh too. We'll get to that one in a sec. But hey, we'll give the Bruins their due, Josh. But just another issue that plagued them throughout this whole season. Unlike last year, where we were closing it out in the third period every time, we just can't close this year. Let up, I believe I heard it from last night's stat, 58 goals, game tying or go-ahead goals allowed in the third period this year, tied for the most with the Red Wings and another, I think it was the Sabres or something, another bad team. I was going to say another bad team, but the Red Wings played well. Shout out Zach. So I don't want to throw the Red Wings too much under the bus, but it was another bad team. So it really wasn't good company right there, Josh, but we just can't give up these leads. Like I was saying, we're going to steal this game. You just got to hold on to it. Olemark was doing his part. Just the defense wasn't there. The defense wasn't clamping down on Matthews. They were just getting whatever they wanted in the zone, and we weren't enforcing anything. They were the enforcers. They were, getting there first. I'm wearing a Bruins shirt too. Me and Josh both went with the Bruins today. For them, it's still a big series. Still, the series is still very much alive. It was just another cherry on top too, Josh. The Maple Leafs were just due. The Maple Leafs were just due. They hadn't beat us all year. We'd beaten them 6 straight times. They wanted this one. They really wanted this one. As I said, they outplayed us pretty much in every period. We might have won the first, but they really wanted this game, and they came out to play Josh. So you got to give the hats off to them. They got that game. Breakaway, and that last little sort of effort at the end, with the 6-on-5, you just wish we got that one. It was just right there. But for the Bruins, I'm satisfied with the series so far, Josh, ultimately, too. I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing from them. We're just going to have to bring it. We're going to have to take one from Toronto. We knew we were going to have to go over to Toronto and win at least one, and then we're going to definitely have to. So for the Bruins, I'm satisfied so far, Josh.
Oh, 100%. This is, I think the sentiment is returned. I mean, me and James were talking about this earlier. I think the Bruins went out, won game one. Toronto, all they had to do, they're telling themselves is, hey, let's just steal one on the road, go back home, 1-1 series. Same thing for us now, Ben. Whether it's game 3 or game 4, I expect the Bruins to steal one on the road, come back to Boston, clean slate, nice tied up. Because if we're going to be honest with each other, the Maple Leafs have been outplaying us. I mean, even in game 1, more shots on net, we dominated them in the score sheet. That's fine. But aside from that, the Maple Leafs have been kind of more the aggressor. I mean, I think the announcers were saying the hits were absolutely insane last night. Just a very physical series. Of course, it's the playoffs and it's playoff hockey. Huge. 2 original 16s. It's going to be amped up. But aside from that, you got to steal one. That's it. I want them to steal one coming back to Boston. A couple interesting storylines and points out of that game too yesterday, Ben. One of them being Jim Montgomery doing what he didn't do last year in starting Linus Ullmark. That was kind of a lot going back and forth. People debated, should they ride Swayman 2 games in a row, stick with the hot hand? Last year, they did that and it bit them in the ass. This year, Jim Montgomery says, you know what? I want Swayman in my game 3 in Toronto. He started game 1. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's go with the fresh legs. Let's go with the fresh pads in Ullmark. It didn't end up working out, but aside from that, Ben, I'm not blaming Ullmark and I'm not blaming Montgomery. 31 saves on 34 shots. He did his job. And if we're going to be completely honest, Ben, I know people online saying ridiculous things. I mean, absolutely ridiculous things. I don't know how these people are employed by, saying like Swayman would stop that breakaway. I mean, this is arguably one of the best goal scorers in the last decade in Austin Matthews. He's climbing up the leaderboards in just goals per season, not even a game. I mean, there's very few goalies, if any, who are going to make that save. And I think it's more just luck at that point. So I'm not blaming that on him. And even just some of the photos that I was showing earlier, I mean, Ullmark was sprawling out. I mean, there was so many saves where he kept us in the game. Usually, Ben, I'm very keen to be on the goalies and decisions like that. And even going into the game last night, that was my initial thought was, hold on a second. Why are we not going with Swayman? He's been the better goaltender. But you know what? It's fine. Kind of like the ESPN commentator said, both of their stats are very close, very, very similar players. Arguably, like Tyler said, big Bruins fan, been on the show before. Both could be arguably top 5 goalies in the NHL. So why not play to your strength, switch it up, go to the dual goalies, which me and James have argued about in the past. It didn't work out. You didn't lose the game because of the goalies. As you mentioned, Ben, you lost it because of your defense, and they just outplayed you. The Maple Leafs had more shots on net, and that was kind of one of my concerns while watching the game yesterday and after game 1 was this Bruins team, it seems when they play good teams, they kind of get outshot. And at some point, it's going to catch up to you. And another very valid point that you mentioned, which if you weren't going to mention it, I was going to mention it, was the point that how many times have the Bruins blown the lead in the third period, as you mentioned, tied for the worst team in the entire National Hockey League in terms of go-ahead goals and just blowing the lead in the third period. So I mean, if the game goes to overtime, it's a coin flip. It's a crapshoot because they're so used to that. At least they're used to it. But you never know what's going to happen. And to your point, Ben, they just have to go to Toronto to a very rocking crowd. I mean, this fan base gathers up their fans for watch parties. So the Bruins better be ready to go into Toronto, show some physicality. And one of the stat sheet box scores stats that I want to see, Ben, is I want to see this team finish a game. I don't care if they win. I don't care if they win 7-1. Just please outshoot the other team. Every time it's gonna catch up to them when your goalie's seeing more shots than the other goalie. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Tim Thomas. I don't care if it's the best Patrick Waugh. Like it's gonna catch up to you at some point. And I think it finally caught up with the Bruins. Just gonna get to a couple comments before we kind of talk a little bit more about some of the other stuff around the NHL, and of course get into our Celtics and NBA playoffs. We got Melissa joining in here. Go Bruins. So love that. And we've got Charlie O'Donnell. I'm very curious in seeing what that is. We're going to come back to that in a second. But guess what? Michael Montanti, the actual Montante, trying to come in here and trying to trick me like he did last time. I'm not falling for that. He did not retire. It's an interesting one. You're not going to catch
me. He got me.
He's not going to catch me this time. I was
ready for that one.
I did not hear about this. I would have got a little cowboy alert unless I'm really way off and I'm 0 for 2 against Michael Montanti, not Montante. So interesting little one there. I'm not going to fall for. And Ben, I wanted to give you the floor to get to this. I was literally just telling James earlier, the Houston ones are terrible. The new, I think it's the Broncos just came. Like these,
Broncos are going
so
classic.
Happy.
I like that.
Oh, that's what it was. Theirs are okay, but I'm so happy that the Cowboys and the Yankees too, within baseball, the City Connect jerseys are hideous, absolutely hideous. I'm glad the Cowboys and Yankees don't get involved in that because, geez Louise, they need new marketing people for that. I mean, oh my God.
Sorry. Yeah, some of them, Josh. Yeah, no, I agree with Jackson too, some of them. But, Texans ones, it's a little much. I'm going to have to be convinced on that one. I'm going to have to see them out there. I'm going to have to see Stroud throwing bombs to Diggs out there to convince me on that one. It's a little interesting, Josh. A little interesting concept. Maybe I could be convinced and jumped on that bandwagon, but for the most part, yeah, some of these ones I'm looking. The Jets aren't really good. I like how the Broncos one, as we just stated, bringing back the classics. I love those classic ones for the Broncos. But that's really about it. The Lions have a kind of an interesting one. This is, I'm kind of digging this blue one, but the black one, I don't know. I thought I would like that one a little better, but the blue helmet is a little too much for me on that one. I don't know. I think I'm just not feeling that one. But these new NFL uniforms, you should stick to the classics. Just stick to the classics, like Josh said with the Cowboys, Steelers too. Throw the Steelers in there as the classics.
Great uniform, Steelers.
Yeah. We never change it. Never change it up a little. So we gotta stick to that one. And echoing all those comments too. Go Bruins. No, Jimmy, I'm not going there. And to Cheese Point, that was more of an insider joke with Michi and Jeff. Yeah,
is that towards the end of the game?
Yeah, towards the end of the game.
That trip.
Yeah,
I was waiting for one of us. What the hell?
Listen, I don't know.
Regulation, the time expired.
It wasn't a penalty shot. I know. Wow. Everybody wants to get on that. It did look something. I mean, if there was more time, obviously probably a penalty. But I mean, I think they had 5 guys back behind him already. There was really no clear breakaway opportunity, I believe. But it was a little weird from Jeff on that one, being the hockey guy, I should say, and him kind of being so surprised at that one. That was just more of an insider one on that, just from Jeff and his lack of hockey experience, even though he's played a lot. But no penalty shot on that.
I got a bone to pick with James in a second, and I know he knows what I'm going to say. I just got a little update, and I want to flash that because I was the first one to hop on this guy, but we'll get to that in a second. And here, McFuss Daddy, I'll give you a quick little breakdown. How much KMS have these guys listened to combined in the last 2 weeks? Over under 20 minutes? It's over. I was just watching highlights earlier. This Mutt versus Coleman thing is getting crazy. I'm going to stay out of it because I don't like to get in people's business, but I've been watching. I've been keeping my tabs. I know that the trivia is going on right now. We're going head to head with that. So McFuss Daddy, if you got any comments on that, you want to talk about the Mutt versus Coleman beef is pretty interesting right now. And James, here we go. Hey, he can sit here and say Guardians are awesome. I mean, they're 16-6 right now. Tanner Houck, let me just put this out here. The guy that I've been hyping for your team since 2 or 3 years now is now 5 shutout innings and 68 pitches for Tanner Houck. Let me mind you, he threw a complete game the last time he pitched. He's 3-1 right now. James can sit here and say, what month is it? But hey, at some point, we got to give this kid his flowers. I mean, right now, he's got to be the best pitcher on your team, James. No? I don't know. Just want to quickly throw that one in there, Ben. I don't want to take away from the Bruins talk, but
I think I gotta agree with that one, Josh. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You know, he's the best pitcher on the team right now. I don't know what Jimmy's saying on that one. I agree with Jimmy too on that. You know, it's a little early, so let's hold everything back. But Aaron Judge not looking too good over there. I just want to slip that in there. I just got to slip a random hate comment that had nothing to do with the conversation. Just wanted to slip that in there, and just for the original comment too, Josh, from McFuss Daddy. I'm going to hammer the under for me. Yeah, I haven't listened to. I don't listen to it, so I'm going to hammer that under for me. I got Josh to listen to it for me, so I know I'm not going Thursday, Jimmy. So
come on,
yeah. Listen,
Ben is he's out.
That's how we do it over here. You don't need me listening to the KMS network the whole time.
Wow, we got an interesting comment here from James. We're getting a little wow, that's interesting coming out the Kirk Minahan show producer. But aside from that, to your point, Aaron Judge, big struggles right now, batting under 190. Was just at 184 the other day. Just K machine getting booed at in Yankee Stadium. I don't want to take too much time to talk about baseball because we got a lot on our docket here. Still haven't even talked Celtics. Still got the mock drafts later, but hey, he needs to step it up. You got your pay. You had that MVP season, that very historical season 2 years ago where you led the league in home runs. That's all fine and dandy. But my biggest issue with Aaron Judge, and to be completely frank with you, this might be a contradicting statement, but my biggest issue with him is what can you do for me in the playoffs? Stanton 2. What can you do for me in the playoffs? This New York Yankees team, what can you guys do for me in the playoffs? That's what I want to see. I'm glad Juan Soto's doing fine. I'm glad that we're neck and neck right now with the Orioles, the Guardians as well as going for the pennant and the best, record in the AL. But guess what? What can you do for me in the playoffs? That's kind of going to be my motto for the next 4 or 5 months, Ben. But other than that, I'm ready to kind of talk some NBA. What can you do for me in the playoffs?
I got you, Josh. I just want to throw this one out there, too. I got this nice stat. Just a little one. It's just to help out Aaron Judge, but his WOBA, his weighted on-base average, is middle of the pack in the MLB right now. So that's pretty good, and everyone's yelling at him that he's not having this great year, blah, blah, blah. He's not doing this, and he's still middle of the pack in the MLB average. People would kill for that, so I know I was just yelling at him. That's just my Red Sox fan in me. I had to pester Josh a little. We always got to yell. We always got to yell at the Yankees a little. 4 shutouts already for the Yankees.
Not good.
But,
bad.
Not good, but I ultimately agree with Josh. Show it to me in the playoffs for the Yankee fans. Just show it to me when it really means it. So another point that Jimmy was saying, we're still very early on in the season for MLB, so we'll wait to see if he's still doing this middle of the season. Yeah, we'll get a little more concerned, but right now, I think they're fine.
Oh, for sure, Ben. Your Boston Celtics taking that 1-0 victory. I mean, Sam Hauser was getting it going. Peyton Pritchard, Ben's boy, we had Tatum. I mean, everybody. It was just a barrage. We had Porzingis going off. When he gets going, and again, this team kind of lives and dies by the 3. They play very, very well. And right now, Ben, I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. I'm not worried. I know everyone's going to get on me and say that he don't have Jimmy Butler. And this wasn't going to be a series if they had Jimmy Butler. I'm so sorry, Jared. I'm so sorry. Miami Heat fans who have been all over me on Twitter. I'm sorry to that bald guy who looks like an absolute friggin' idiot saying, I can't wait to see the Celtics. I mean, This was 6 at most with Jimmy Butler. I still think it was 5. This is now 4 for me. Even before I found out about Jimmy Butler, this was 5. This series is completely done. I purposefully put this in here because I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this, because that's the only way the Miami Heat are going to be able to have a chance in this series. They cannot contend with the Celtics right now. And shout out to Charles Barkley, who is Mr. Jinx, but I think he's right. The Boston Celtics right now are the clear-cut favorite in the NBA, and they're the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. I still believe it'll be the Milwaukee Bucks in the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Knicks could give us an interesting series as well. I'm still going to hammer my fact that we're not going to see a Game 7 until the NBA Finals, depending who we play in the NBA Finals. But again, this is over before it started, and the Knicks fans need to relax with the "we want Boston" because we're a little different beast than Philly. So I think we could take the Knicks in 6. And I'm just going to say this. I think it's a little weird. The NBA going weird. Celtics haven't played. They're not going to play from Sunday to Wednesday. James and I were talking about that. He was the one who brought it up to me. That's super, super long. Hockey just grinds it out. I respect NHL for that. And since we're talking playoffs, I've been sticking with my Lakers, but it's not looking. They're not my Lakers at all. But I had this. I don't want everybody to come in here and say he's a Cowboys, Yankees, Lakers fan. No, I'm not a Lakers fan at all. I am not a Lakers fan at all. But I had this hunch that they were going to make it to the Western Conference Finals, and I was watching the game last night thinking, damn, if they can just steal one game similar to that Toronto Maple Leafs vibe, they're in good business, Ben. Going back to LA, tied series. Oh, yeah. They screwed it up in typical Laker fashion. Anthony Davis walking off after the post game. LeBron as well. I mean, Jamal Murray turned into hero ball. This Denver Nuggets team is going to be in the NBA Finals, Ben, and it's going to be the Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets. That's what it's been destined to be. That's what it's been primed to be. In the last 2 times that we've played them, they've beaten the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. I think that's what we're going to see in. It's tough. I mean, I wish the Lakers could have that run, but they ran into a different beast in the Nuggets. And, you know, looking at the Clippers, they're not fully healthy. Stunning upset against or some people want to call it an upset because they had no Kawhi against the Mavericks. But I just don't believe in many of those teams outside of the Nuggets. I think it's going to be James's, and I think you've been high on them. I think it's going to be the Timberwolves and the Nuggets in terms of seeding in the Western Conference Finals. Then it'll be Milwaukee Bucks, Celtics, Nuggets finals, and that is a very close series.
Josh already going to the finals. Look at that. He already laid it out for us. But, yeah, a lot to dive into in this one in the NBA. Love the NBA playoffs so far, too, Josh. Just wanted to say that. Been great so far. And HL, too. Don't want to knock them, but NBA always is bringing it. But Celtics, yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet for us on the Celtics. This one's over. Heat's over. Let's move on to the next series. I'm loving, as Josh said, pointing out, I'm loving the next one, the series too. Hey, I would love to go to MSG, win a couple games over there. That stadium, that arena's rocking. Love seeing that arena get packed over there, seeing Stephen A. on the sidelines, in front row over there. But the 76ers got a lot more gripe. Sorry, just going all over this place, but I wanted to make this point too. 76ers got a little more gripe with the refs than the Lakers. I don't want to hear about the Lakers complaining about all this. Like LeBron, AD, as you mentioned, walking off. AD literally dropping the mic. LeBron yelling at the refs for whatever, God knows what fouls. D'Lo got hit here, blah blah blah. No, you missed that 3, LeBron. People forget. I mean, LeBron had a wide open 3 to win the game, essentially. Right there, 12 seconds, and he missed it. And he was covering Jamal Murray originally, too. I know he got switched, obviously. There was a couple of picks, but really wasn't fighting too hard through those screens. So I don't really want to hear the Lakers fans complain about that. When you lost, you blew a 20-point lead. It's over for them. That series is a sweep. 76ers, a little more of a gripe. They could complain a little more. Nick Nurse, I did see that. Nick Nurse was calling that timeout. He didn't. He should have probably called it a lot sooner, probably on that inbound. But, I mean, he was calling it in that scramble when Maxey had it. So, and the ref just wasn't looking at him. The ref was just looking straight ahead. Knicks eventually got the ball, hit the 3 to win it, obviously. So, as a Sixers fan, I can see them complaining a little, Josh. I'm going to give them a little more recourse to complain about. The ref's got to see, Nick Nurse calling it. You got to be able to see in your peripheral vision, the coach is calling timeout in a key situation like that. Guys on the ground, you got a baseline ref for a reason. He doesn't need to be staring at that play like that. So 76ers got a little more reason to complain. I don't want to hear it from the Lakers fans, Josh. Josh isn't a Lakers fan, but he wasn't complaining either. But I like to poke a little fun at Josh too. He was back in the Lakers. I told him not to. It was a very tough matchup. They just can't beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets is just too tough of a matchup. They're just too deep for the Lakers to handle. Because I think Josh mentioned this point too in the little pregame show before. This was a series. This was looking like a series if they got this game. If they evened it up, let's go back to LA. They showed they can hang with them last year in LA, but just going down 2-0, it's over for them. But Knicks, let's take the Knicks, Josh. Let's get the Knicks. I want them. Let's get the Knicks. But sorry, Heat fans, it's over. Go back to this one ultimately. It's over. No Butler. Get this team out of here. Even if Hero shoots not 7 for 28 or whatever it was, just making fun of him alone. But even if he goes off on that, it's over. We're not winning. They're not winning the game. They're not winning the series, I should say.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. And I know Jared's going to get all fired up, but I don't think that they had a legitimate chance. Just looking around right now, and actually, I can actually help some of the viewers out right here. We can actually give you guys a quick little sneak peek there. Yeah, it's a little. I just did the screenshot right now, so it's not super zoomed in, but this is the landscape right now for us. Very interesting game out of the Thunder and Pelicans the other day. I mean, for the 8th seed Pelicans, I think that they can maybe make it an interesting series. I mean, same model. I think if you are the lower seed, you're the underdog, all you need to do, Ben, is just steal one freaking game. That's it. On the road, it's a totally different series. Nuggets, Lakers, as you mentioned, that's kind of done. Timberwolves, Suns. I mean, the Suns and the Clippers, two teams that, and I know the Clippers are up 1 in this series, but they are two teams in that Western Conference that just haven't seemed to be able to put it together. I know the Clippers are more injury plagued, Kawhi being out. Kawhi and PG they can't balance it, Ben. It's one's out, the other one's in. I've been all over PG in the past, but at least shout out to him. He's kind of stepped up. Yeah, shout out to him. He's really playoff P. He's stepped up. He's done what he's had to do. I thought that was a very impressive win over the Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks they went all in. They went out and got PJ Washington, who's been playing very well. That Lively kid as well. I mean, they drafted him. I honestly thought that they could maybe steal this series against the Clippers without Kawhi. I mean, Kawhi's arguably their best player. So without him, but hey, Clippers up 1-0. Cavs, I mean, Ben, I think that series is done. Magic, that's a tough one. They're a young team. I like Paulo, fun player to watch. But another interesting series, that kind of reminds me of that Thunder Pelicans is the Knicks and 76ers. I mean, I was listening to some New York radio. I'm a huge Yankees fan, as you know. I like to listen to Brandon Tierney, and I forget who the other guy's name is. They were making a good point. They were going, how the 76ers, I know they're down 2-0, but this series kind of feels a lot closer than it actually is. The Knicks did what they had to do, but are they going to rely on Jalen Brunson to score 40 points every single game going into later into the playoffs? They have no Julius Randle. He's out. I know they went out and got OG Anunoby, and I'm blanking on who else they have. Oh, Trey McBride's been pretty good. He's really elevated himself. He had like 29 the other day or 39, whatever it was. But I'm all over the place right now, Ben. But I think right now, just again, looking at this screenshot, looking at the forecast for the NBA, I think I like the Thunder. I think they're actually, it looks to me like the Timberwolves and the Nuggets are going to play each other next. So I don't even know. It could be Thunder and Nuggets, but I think Timberwolves, Nuggets are the two best teams out in the West. That'll be an interesting second series. And then it's going to be the Celtics. The winner, Josh.
In that
it's going to be the Celtics and the Bucks. And I couldn't agree with you anymore there, Ben.
Yeah, no, I like that little layout right there. I kind of confused now why the Knicks were shouting for us. They're going to get past your Bucks, too. That's how I said your Bucks for for Josh. That's his team right there. The Bucks impressed me too. I mean, Dame just showed you what Dame time is all about. Kind of forgot about that. That's Doc coming over there and kind of just they were below 500 ever since he got there. So they kind of just been struggling ever since his arrival. But I think he just showed you Dame and the rest of Middleton, the rest of the crew showed you they can get this series done without Giannis. So they're scaring me a little. But yeah, like you said, Josh, the Knicks 76ers one, it was definitely a little closer than it seems. The 76ers should have won that one. I mean, 2 30-point double-doubles from Embiid and Maxey, and you can't win a game. That's a pretty tough one. So I think they got the capability of winning this. They got to obviously go back to Philly and turn the switch. Sure. Because, the Knicks won this one. Game one was a little close to, obviously, Embiid going out played a huge difference in that as well. So it's Knicks taking that game one. Little biased in that one, little exaggerated just from Embiid's injury in that one, but definitely a lot closer than it seems. That 2-0, and the Knicks got to be careful. The Knicks got to be careful not to look ahead. And focus on the 76ers right now, because I thought Embiid was going to be done for the series. Maxey had that little sickness too, so they were both questioned before the game. And like I just said, they just dropped a 30-point double-double on you. So they got to be careful with that. They can't get too complacent, Josh, and be looking ahead to the next, because they got to deal with the Bucks Pacers too. So they really shouldn't be looking forward to us. They should, much like us. So I'm not looking forward. I'm looking ahead to the next one. I'm looking ahead to the Cavs. The Cavs are looking dangerous, Josh. Obviously Magic. Well rested. They got the bigs to sort of take out Porzingis. Donovan Mitchell's got the star power over there. Garland's playing well. So, they got the roster to compete with us. They got the bench guys and Yang. So they've got the roster to compete with us. We got to be careful about them, because I think that's another one. It's Cavs Celtics next round. Let's just get that one going. Sorry, Magic fans. Sorry, Heat fans. Magic, at least you got a nice little young roster. They're gonna be around for a long time, Josh. It's just not their year. They're just way too young right now, and just coming into this series a little cold, losing the last 4 into it. Now they lost 6 in a row, shooting below 36%. Just it's not gonna work. Not gonna work, Josh. But Celtics, Cavs. I'm focused on the Cavs.
I like it, Ben. Hey, we're previewing. This is what we marketed to you guys. We're previewing NBA playoffs. We started talking Bruins, NHL a little bit. We're going to, of course, wrap it up with the NFL draft. That'll be our main event for tonight. But hey, just want to quickly lay out, our slate for tonight for the NBA games, and a nice little interesting storyline I just thought about before we switch gears over to the NFL draft. But Suns, Timberwolves tonight. Mavericks, Clippers are the main event game. In the Pacers and the Bucks, 8:30. I bring this game up because as we're on the show right now, we're talking the Pacers. This is a team, Ben, that, weird situation, kind of frustrating if you go down 2-0. If you lose in the first round of the playoffs, it's very, very frustrating. They went all in. They traded for Tyrese Halliburton. They made a couple little sneaky moves earlier in the season. People were saying, this is a team you don't really want to match up against. And just kind of a team in the middling section, Ben, don't really know, I view them kind of like the Knicks. Like, maybe they can make some noise. They can, they went out, they made a couple trades. Now let's win a playoff series or two. Let's get to a conference finals. Let's build off that. Now, if they lose in the first round after trading Domantas Sabonis, there is a lot to talk about if you are a Indiana Pacers fan coming the offseason where you went all in, you got rid of Sabonis. I know the Kings have bowed out, and it looks good for that. But aside from that, I don't know, man. It's just something. It's just kind of some food to chew on, some food for thought a little bit later. But if the Bucks go up 2-0, it's pretty much virtually done. I know Giannis didn't play. I don't know, Ben. Just an interesting thought. And here we go. Hurricane Dave coming in. Is Dak a top 5 quarterback?
No.
I'm going to say no, but he's just outside of it. That last playoffs is just playoffs. What can you do for me in the playoffs? That's kind of what it always comes down to with Dak. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. That's a quick little tease for you. Is he top 7? Yes, he's top 7.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to put him 7 to 10 range. That's what I was going to say. Hurricane Dave read my mind. Yeah, 7 to 10 range. Can't rattle it off right now, but yeah, he's either 7 or 8 for me. He's definitely top 10. Let's just say that he's definitely top 10. But I'm gonna go a little opposite with Josh. I mean, I don't think it's a total disaster for the Pacers. With the Halliburton trade, they're just starting fresh out here. The Siakam one's a little, makes it scratch your head a little more why they went after Siakam so much and everything. But hey, maybe they're just gonna plan to just sort of do this nucleus of Halliburton and Siakam, Miles Turner over there. That maybe they're just gonna run these cards over there. So I don't think it's a total disaster for the Pacers. It will be if they don't show any more life. I mean, they just got murdered in this first game. They just, without Giannis, you got to put up a better fight. People are giving you a fighting chance. And you just come out there and don't even, it's not even like you played. They just kind of embarrassed you and took advantage just of everything. They just were better than you in every facet. So took advantage of the youth of that team and just the inexperience. So hopefully they can bounce back in this one. It's an exciting team, Josh. I mean, one of the highest scoring teams this season. They beat the Bucks plenty of times in the regular season, so they know they can. They know they can get these wins. It's not they have a mentality that they know they can't do in it, but they just got to get out there, Josh, and get these playoff wins. But I want to be totally disappointed with them. I just need to see a little fight from them. See a little fight, and I think it'll be a good season for the Pacers. But yeah, Dave, I like that question from Hurricane Dave. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that one.
Ben likes that one, and of course. We'll give you one last quick look at this screenshot there. You can see some of the teams leading, some of the future matchups to come. We will be referencing this screenshot more and more as we get into the playoffs. But of course, it is now our main event time, and I wish we had a little jingle for that. But main event time, we're talking NFL draft. This is something, Ben, that has been hyped up for so long. The star-studded here and Caleb Williams, everybody's been waiting to see. The Patriots, who are they going to draft? We've been talking about since, middle of the season. What is the future for the Patriots? Who are they going to draft? What is going to happen for the Commanders? Yada, yada, yada. This is the interesting time here where we really break down some things. And Hurricane Dave came in. He was asking what I think about Dak and this top. There's so many different directions teams can go into for the NFL draft. I know that the start of the 2024 season and the start to the next year really does start in free agency because that's kind of where you build your team around. That kind of affects what your draft needs are and how you're going to tool your team based off the free agency. But certain teams like the Cowboys, the draft is kind of your free agency. And certain teams like the Patriots, Commanders, Bears, it is huge for those early draft picks. But Ben, this is something I've been super excited for. I'm going to give it a quick little tease. I've even got a trade happening into the top 10 for my mock draft. James has 2 of them. So we'll go over his draft, his mock draft a little bit later. Maybe we'll do his last. But this is really what Patriots fans and everybody has kind of been waiting for. We'll get to Hurricane Dave's question here. Will CD participate in training camp? I'm going to say no. I think the Dallas Cowboys have an interesting, few decisions to make because they've got a Dak extension on their hands. They've got a Micah Parsons, extension on their hands, and they've got to figure out CeeDee Lamb. I think my first priority right now is extending CeeDee Lamb. And moving on from there, I think you ride into this season with Dak Prescott on his final season. That's just kind of how I view it. Ben? Yeah. You think he'll participate?
Yeah, I don't see him participate. No, he's not going to be. He's not going to be in camp. They got too much to figure out. They gotta hit this draft, Josh, as you just alluded to right now, because of these situations that you just laid out. Gotta pay Dak. Gotta pay Micah. Gotta pay CD. So. I don't see him participating in training camp. I don't think you really need him there too. So he'll be good with Dak and everything. It's going to be fine. It's just they got to work out a contract for him. They can't lose him. Like I said, I'm down with keeping Dak too. I'm down with keeping Dak for 4 or 5 more years. Let's keep running it back. He's not he's not totally out of the woods yet. He's still there. We told Hurricane Dave a moment ago. He's a top 7 quarterback, top 8 for me. Probably not. No, I want to do that trade. Hurricane Dave's coming
You're
fast.
seeing that? You're
Fast
seeing
at these
that?
ones. Yeah, no,
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that. No, you got the reliable CD.
I agree with that.
I know Marvin Harrison's out there. There's guys like Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., a couple LSU guys, Dylan. Shout out Dylan. He loves his LSU boys over there. And they got some great wide receivers out there. Part of the reason why Jaden Daniels was so good this past year, he had just a plethora of just great wideouts over there, just helping him out. I really like Malik Neighbors. Whoever can nab him in it is going to have a solid wideout, but no, I would not do that. Just keep it together, Josh and Dave. Just keep it together. Let's just run it back with Dak and CD. Because one of my other main points with all this sort of contract talk with the Cowboys and Dak and keeping them is it's not always better it's not always greener on the other side. Trust me. That's me as a guy who just had Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky and who Mason Rudolph made smile last year. It's you want to keep your quarterback. It's one of those. There's a reason why the people make these crazy trades. There's a reason why they move up so high, give up so much draft capital. Carolina Panthers, sorry, Ray, but there's a reason why these things are done. It's a very important position, and you need it. So I wouldn't be doing any of this. Keep Dak and listen, one has to go. I know one has to go. But it's not. I don't know. Jerry's gonna find some money, but here we go. Dak stinks. I like the JD.
Yeah, they're coming in on it. They're trying to get me going. What's up? JD Daniels and Adonai to New England. How's it going, man? Welcome.
He wants somebody wants Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's gonna be too happy with our mock drafts, but
maybe he will.
If I was a Patriots fan, maybe some nice little tease right there, Josh, but I think they should be happy. I'm not a Patriots fan, obviously, but I think the Patriots fans would be more than happy with the person I got them taken. They should be, at least. But I digress, Josh. But yeah.
Let's get to it, Ben. Let's break it down. We're gonna start with Ben. We'll start with the man of the hour, his show. We're gonna start. Hey, he's the first name in our logo.
Come on.
So we're gonna start with him. Let's get to this one last comment. Daniel's going to Washington, sadly. So that's kind of what JD Daniels and Adonai saying there. But let's get it to. Here we go. Without further ado, this is Ben's top 10 mock draft and Steelers Cowboys. Ben, take it away. Floor's yours.
Come on, Jay Daniels. Okay. Turn that frown upside down. I don't want to see you depressed over there. I just got you Drake May. I know you don't like it. I don't know why you don't like it. This guy is one of the best. Trust me, this guy's one of the best out there. I know we had an off season this year, but kind of came back down to earth. He didn't have Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, De'Ami Brown on the team. They lost a lot of talent from that North Carolina team a couple of years ago. Very talented team. So he was obviously going to come down a little, Josh, but I think you should be excited about this one. I think Drake May has the ability to be the best quarterback. I have the three right there, Caleb, Jaden, or Drake May 2 years ago. He was getting Patrick Mahomes comparisons. Trust me, I was on the ACC network. I watched a lot of his game film. And there was a lot of praise for him. There was a lot of praise. Like I said, this year, just kind of a down year for UNC. They kind of came back down to earth a little. ACC wasn't as good as it really as it sort of perennially is. Excuse me. But I'm not going to knock him for that one. I'm not going to knock him for that one. First hands up, yeah, I like that one too over there. I'm gonna kind of keep that one over there, Dave. But I'm gonna go down the line. Bears, this is easy, Josh. Caleb Williams, number one. He's going there. There's a reason they traded Fields. This is the reason. Then I got Jaden Daniels, Commanders spending all that money this offseason on this offense. Austin Eckler, they've already got the wideouts and McLaurin. Blank on the other guy, but he's nasty too. He's pretty good over there. They got the offense set. They just need the quarterback, Josh. Got your guy, Tyler Biadasz, for the offensive line, so they can address that a little later on in the draft too. Patriots, Drake May, don't trade back, even though I wouldn't be totally upset if I was a Patriots fan if they traded back. They basically need every offense position, so trading back wouldn't hurt too bad. Maybe get like a Michael Penix, someone like that in later rounds, stockpile those picks. Number 4 is easy, Josh. This one is Marvin Harrison. You need Kyler Murray to have an number one weapon over there. with the exit of Hollywood Brown. Really, it didn't turn out to be a number one for them. But this is the perfect weapon for Kyler Murray, Josh. He's, going to be the best. I know there's a lot of, I see Jay Daniels coming in there with a lot of the Malik Neighbors ones, and I just kind of hyped him up too. But Marvin Harrison, you can't fault the genes. You got to trust the name. Marvin Harrison, you got to take him. He's generational talent. He's going to be Kyler Murray's number one. Number 5, Josh, just go either way. I could see Neighbors being taken here too from the Chargers, maybe Romeo Oduze as well from the Washington. Wide receivers just so deep this year. But I think you got to protect Justin Herbert. Too many injuries early on in his career. I think Harbaugh loves the offensive linemen too. He wants to protect his franchise quarterback. So I'm going Joe Alt, best offensive lineman, Notre Dame. Sort of Joe Thomas vibes over there. Number 6, losing Saquon, you got to get another weapon for Danny Dimes. Just if you're going to run it back with him, taking Malik Neighbors, I think he's the second best wideout out there. So you're going to have to do something for the Giants. The Giants are a mess. Defense is nasty, but offense is abysmal. So they're going to have to get something on that end. Tight end's another one. They could go wide receiver, but I'm going to go, you got to get tackle. You got to get a tackle over there. I like some of the additions they've had to the offensive side. I believe they added Hollywood Brown over there. It's just you need somebody to protect Will Levis. You can't go anywhere without an offensive line, so you got to start over there. For the Falcons, they haven't had a double-digit sack leader since Vic Beasley. So if anyone can remember that name, that was a while ago. So this guy's one of the best. Again, after it. Latte. I don't want to butcher it too much over there, but I'm going to have him going over there. And just another team that needs some sacks, Josh. They both these teams, the Falcons and the Bears, ranked in the bottom 3 for sacks. Bears got so many picks. Let's just keep getting. You already got your quarterback. Go get Jared Verse on the other side. FSU talent. He can get after the quarterback. He's been falling a little for us in some of the drafts, but I'm going to go him, Josh, for the Bears. I like him. I like him over there. Shout out to the ACC, excuse me. To round out my top 10, Josh, Brock Bowers to the Jets. This one, you could go get some offensive line, sort of give Tyron Smith a little backup. I know his age. You know all about him. His injury proneness over there. He's getting up there. He's one of the best to do it when he's on the field. But he hasn't been on the field in these recent years. So he's going to have to – you could go either way with this one, but I just don't think you missed the talent with this one. You got Rodgers back. You give him another go-to right behind Garrett Wilson. Brock Bowers can be a pass catcher, and he can block well for you. So I got that one, and it's easy for us, Josh. Easy for the Cowboys and Steelers on this one. I just got to take Steelers start off. We need a center. Jackson Powers Johnson, Oregon. He's going to solidify us against those pass rushers in the AFC North. Got a heavy set of them, so we're going to need somebody to anchor that offensive line. And Cowboys, much like the Pats, they need so many people. Need a lot of positions, but I got them taking Jordan Morgan, just shoring up that offensive line for Dak. And I appreciate Hurricane Dave for that one. ACC has underrated talent. Shout out Dave. Dave's been killing it so far this show. They do have underrated talent.
So that's a quick look there. We're going to get to a couple comments before we get another look at Ben's mock draft there. This one was an interesting one for me. Drake May is Mitch Trubisky. Daniels is Steve McNair. Got another one here. Just people not happy with Drake May. And I was listening to a little bit of the Sports Hub earlier. They're not very impressed with him, saying his accuracy can be all over the place. May only played 4 ranked opponents in his college career, and he crapped the bed in 2 of those games. We've also got we've got an interesting little. Actually, I can't skip this one. Steelers should draft Cooper DeJean if he's still there, who I think is probably the best corner in the draft from what I've seen.
1 or 2.
High up on my Josh draft board. If you were going to put power rankings for Josh. And here we go. Jaden Daniels here. This comment. Chargers trade Herbert to Vikings.
This is interesting.
Vikings number 11 and 23 picks this year. Chargers take Alt at 5, McCarthy at 11, and a wide receiver at 23. Wow. Vikings get an elite wide quarterback. Who says no to this trade?
Hey, get this guy a GM job, Josh. That was pretty good. I had to read it for a second, but get Jay Daniels in the front office somewhere. That's honestly, that's not even a bad trade. I kind of just read it now, but if you're really high on McCarthy, if you really like him and all that, might as well. You get a wide receiver 11, like I just said. It's a very deep wide receiver class, and you just go from there. I mean, you got your offensive lineman, you got your quarterback, you got your go-to wide receiver. 23 is, I don't know if it's going to be a go-to wide receiver. Like I said, it's very deep. You can mold somebody into it, but I more so go with Dave on this one. Again, I like that one right there, but I'm not too high on JJ McCarthy. I'm not too high on him. I think it was just a lot of. I like that one. It's just a lot of the system base. That's a lot of had a really great Michigan defense over those years. Really great run game with Blake Corum. They really didn't rely on McCarthy too much and everything. And I know they just won this past year, but it was very paved. The path was paved for them pretty easily. But JJ McCarthy, I would not be passing on it. And as I would echo that from Jay Daniels, if I was a Pats fan and they were thinking about taking him, no on JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, Ben, I think it's a no-brainer for the Chargers. They don't do it. I think that there's a chance they could trade out of that 5th, but I mean, Herbert is a perennial quarterback. I've harped on him a little bit last year with my Dak, comparisons and stuff, and everybody kind of getting on Dak. I've had the same stuff for Herbert. I still think Herbert's better than Dak. Herbert is my favorite player who is not a Cowboy. That's always going to be that way. I think in no world should Jim Harbaugh ever decide to trade him. I mean, unless you are blown away, that's totally fine. The offer is unbelievable. It's like ridiculous. You can't pass it up. Okay, that's fine. I don't think that they're going to do it. I think Herbert stays where he is. He just got his contract. It's just he's going to stay there. And I don't know how I feel on McCarthy. I think I've heard things. He could be kind of like a Brock Purdy if in the right situation. This kid's just a born winner. I'm super, super skeptical on the quarterbacks. I think it could go anywhere. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. I think he's a head case. I'm not sold on JJ McCarthy. I think, to most of your points, I think he's very mid-card. I think he could be mid-card, McCarthy, whatever the hell you want to call him. McCarthy. And same with Jaden Daniels. I mean, Ben's point, Ben hit it on the nail. Once you have all that talent around you, it's easy to be great. I mean, you had Neighbors, you had I'm blanking on the other kid's name.
Thomas Jr., Brian Thomas
yeah,
Jr.
Brian Thomas Jr., who I actually saw a mock draft. The Cowboys are going to take. Definitely don't want them to do that. But it's 4 people are not watching this. We've got like over 1,000 on Rumble right now, and we've got 22 between Facebook and everything. So nice try, Brian. Thank you for coming in. And Coleman says McCarthy is Tom Brady. Who says no? I mean, that's an interesting take there. And Jaden Daniels is too skinny. No way he stays healthy. That's an interesting one. I haven't heard that one before. But quickly, I'm going to give you my mock draft. We're going to give you James's after that. Actually, do we do James's first or mine? What do you think, Ben?
You can go yours first. I want to give it to you. Hey, you're here for this one. Hey,
we're going to go mine. This is
this.
It's a little interesting. Yeah, we got 4 people watching. It doesn't matter.
That's a lot.
It's an interesting one here. Caleb Williams, as Ben said, I think it is just the stars have aligned for them. He is who is going to go there. I think, they got rid of Fields. They traded this guy. It's a situation where you just have to draft him. I don't believe in him. I think that this is a recipe for disaster. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe this kid's the next Patrick Mahomes. I don't think so. I really think that the Bears are going to have to deal with a head case who, I don't know. I just don't like it. Moving on here. I know everybody in the odds say Jaden Daniels is going to go to the Washington Commanders, but from what I've heard, I don't know, Dan Quinn, I know everybody, they went out and they got Marcus Mariota. That means I'm pretty sure they got Marcus Mariota. I know they went out and I know they went out and got a pretty rushing quarterback, a mobile quarterback. Oh, they're going to get Jaden Daniels. It makes sense. I don't know. Last I heard, Jaden Daniels was not pleased with their meeting. I know there's a bunch of different reports. Anything can happen on draft day. Let's be a little different. I think the Patriots and our leading commenter of the day, he gets his wish. I think Jaden Daniels falls to the Patriots. I don't think that they trade out. You would have to be blown away from an offer. This is basically what you played this entire season for. This could be you're looking for that next perennial guy. Maybe it is Jaden Daniels. You see him on the board. Some people like James even mentioning they had him as number 1 on their mock draft board. Why not take him? Like Ben said, these next 3, I think that these are pretty self-explanatory. These guys need wide receivers. I mean, they went all in on Kyler Murray. He was hurt last year. He's got his injury concerns. They traded DeAndre Hopkins. They've got no Andy Isabella, no Hollywood Brown. They need a wide receiver. They need that perennial guy. And everybody loves Marvin Harrison. I personally think he's going to be the best, wide receiver. I think he's just the best wide receiver, intangibles in this draft class. Is he going to have the best career? No, I'm not saying that. Depends on what situations they go to. So I see him going there. I think the Cardinals take him there. Into Ben's point, I agree. It is a very sexy draft class. I'm very excited for Thursday. Excited for Thursday. But I first originally had the Chargers taking Joe Alt. Then I was like, maybe the Chargers trade and get rid of, that pick. And that's where the Minnesota Vikings end up getting JJ McCarthy. Because I just have this weird, my kind of ballsy prediction is that JJ McCarthy gets traded in the top 10. That was kind of my bold take. But aside from that, I think the Chargers, as Ben said, they just got rid of a bunch of their weapons. And as we are all saying, whether they trade for a quarterback, which I don't think that they're going to do, or they stick with their guy, their top gun there, my favorite quarterback in the National Football League, Justin Herbert, you got to give him a weapon. And that's Malik Neighbors, the best wide receiver left on the board. Then that goes down to the Giants, another team who Ben was talking about earlier. They lost Saquon Barkley. Who's the last wide receiver they had that was a stud? That's Odell Beckham. They completely whiffed on my guy out of the Lions. I'm blanking on his name. Just couldn't stay healthy. This is going to drive me insane.
The cornerback?
Not the cornerback, the wide receiver. What was his name? It'll come to me. But he was an absolute, it's on the tip of my tongue. He was an absolute fold for the Lions. Just couldn't stay healthy. Joe Alt, I think Titans, maybe they boost up. This is a very high lineman draft. I think that maybe Titans are the first team to take a, lineman in this draft, beef up that line, have someone who can really protect Will Levis. That's their future. And then the cornerback that Nick was saying he wishes falls to the Steelers. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the Falcons want to bolster up that defense. They've got a nice, young, stingy defense. They went out. They got Kirk Cousins. I still think they need to make a couple more adjustments for a cornerback in that defense. I think that's why they do that. I'll go quickly because we're running out of time. JJ McCarthy, I think the Minnesota Vikings love him. I think that they know they need a quarterback. They're not going to make things done here with Sam Darnold. It's just not going to work out. Jets, if there's a better wide receiver on the board, I think they're going to go offense for Aaron Rodgers. They know their time's running short. Steelers, I think some weird thing's going to happen where some guys are going to fall. It's going to happen. I think this could be the best possible situation for the Steelers. I know Ben's probably over there like, yes, please get the Alabama tackle there. It could happen. And this guy, Jordan Morgan, I don't know too much about the lineman, but I do know the Cowboys have loved him. He's high on a lot of the Cowboys beat writers' boards there. And I want to throw out an interesting little point here, Ben, and I actually want you guys to see me for this. I think there is a huge chance that the Cowboys could draft a quarterback in the first round. I think it could be very similar to the Green Bay Packers. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm just saying it could happen. Dak Prescott saying he could be happy playing somewhere else. Contract negotiations aren't going well. I need to see what he can do for us in the playoffs. If a guy like Michael Penix falls, I don't know. Some little food for thought later. And quickly, we'll give you James' mock draft here. You got Caleb Williams first, Jaden Daniels 2. Same as Ben for the top 4. And then he's got an interesting little trade here. JJ McCarthy going to the Vikings. The Chargers do trade that 5th pick. Giants go out and get Malik Neighbors. Also has Joe Alt like me. Then you've got the Quinion Mitchell. He thinks he's going to be the first cornerback taken. Eagles trade into it. I love that take there because the Eagles are a very aggressive team. We've seen that in free agency. Dallas Turner, huge. I think he's actually the best edge rusher, so I agree with James there. And as I mentioned earlier, he thinks the Jets are going to get a wide receiver or offensive piece there for the Jets. Steelers go tackle. Cowboys go tackle. Just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. James thinks he's funny for that. And hey, Jaden Daniels and Adonai to New England. I love Corum Brooks. I also love I love Corum. I love Brooks. I hope Brooks comes to Dallas for the second round. Hopefully we got a running back. Thank you. Come back in next week, man. And as always, I'm going to turn it over to Ben. We're running a little bit late. Want to get you guys to the Beyond Average podcast. But thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, Ben, finish up the show.
Hey, we'll go nice and short over here. Thanks to everyone for joining. We'll see you next week. Go NFL Draft. And shout out to Jay Daniels and Hurricane Dave.